On today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping, the SS United States is to be sunk. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode. This is a sad program for me. The SS United States is the pinnacle of commercial shipping. You can't see it, but right above me, right here in my office, is a massive picture of the SS United States on its builder's trials in May of 1952, doing a phenomenal 44 miles an hour out in the ocean, 38 knots. The SS United States is the flagship of the U.S. Merchant Marine. It has been captained by only masters from my school, State University of New York, Maritime College, right back up there. It is announced that due to issues with the dock and Conservancy issues, the decision has come to basically scuttle the ship, reef the ship off Okaloosa County in Florida. That's on the panhandle of Florida on the Gulf of Mexico side, just east of Pensacola. We're going to take a look at this story, break it down, and discuss it. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. Here's the announcement from the SS United States Conservancy on October 14th that the title of the ship has been transferred and work is underway to move the ship. The plan is to shift the vessel from its lay berth in Philadelphia down to Norfolk, Virginia, and make the preparations for scuttling. I should note that the ship has been basically stripped of almost everything. For a long time, that ship was down in Newport News, Virginia. I remember seeing it when I was sailing out of Newport News. The ship was towed over to Turkey, where asbestos and all the other material had been removed. Prior to that, there was an auction on board the vessel where they sold off like every piece on it. It's really just a stripped out hulk of a vessel. There have been efforts to try to preserve the vessel, bring it back. There were efforts here. This is a list from G-Captain of efforts way back in 2016 and 2014 about returning the vessel, plans with organizations like Crystal Cruises to bring them back, but basically they all failed. There was really no prospect to be able to bring that ship back. She was in such poor state, it would be uneconomical to bring it back. There were discussions about turning her into a museum ship akin to the Queen Elizabeth or the Queen Mary, but the amount of money you would need is just astronomical. Plus, you have to deal with the issue that your hotel is in water, and you have to worry about the hull collapsing and corroding. Historical ships are a really tough one, especially a commercial vessel like the SS United States. This is the story over at G-Captain Mike Schuller put this together, talking about the final voyage of the SS United States, the amount of money needed just to keep the ship up at the dock and do the minimal preservation on it was not possible. And so the decision has been made after this court-ordered mediation. There was an issue with where the ship was berthed and what was going to happen to it. Now they're basically looking at the last option. The plans were to scrap the vessel, which is a horrific end, basically melting her down and taking her to Brownsville, Texas, probably, and taking her apart in pieces. But now the decision has been made to scuttle the vessel, basically reef it off of the coast of Florida. This way people can dive on it and really visit the vessel. Now, the ship is an amazing vessel. There's a lot of great history on this vessel. The ship obviously designed at the very tail end of the U.S. Maritime Commission building program. In many ways, the Maritime Commission was bookended by two cruise ships. One was SS America. The one at the end was SS United States. So if you want the history of this vessel, I'd recommend two of the best books that are out there about it. Stephen Ujifusa, who was a member of the SS United States Conservancy, wrote this book, A Man and His Ship, America's Greatest Naval Architect and His Quest to Build the SS United States. So this is William Francis Gibbs. Gibbs is kind of the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musk of his day. He was a naval architect, a kind of a college dropout, got into engineering, did a whole series of ship engineering early in his career. This book is really two books in one. The first part is the biography of William Francis Gibbs. The second part is the construction and building of the SS United States. It is a great book. I really strongly recommend it. I think it's one of the best holistic views of the ship and William Francis Gibbs. And if Gibbs is a name that sounds familiar to you, he created a company, Gibbs and Cox, which built most of the engineering and steam turbines for most American ships during the 20th century. Absolutely essential in World War II for the engine plants for U.S. naval vessels. Gibbs is just a person who should get a lot more credit. He also helped convert the SS Imperator into the Leviathan. This was a ship taken over by the Americans during World War I. It becomes the flagship of the American merchant fleet during the interwar years. It's replaced by SS America, the very first cruise ship built under the Maritime Commission, and eventually SS United States. United States was so innovative that its plant was top secret. Ship can do 38 knots. It could do 20 knots astern in reverse. Had very innovative four propellers, two 5-bladed, two 4-bladed propellers. The ship could be converted into a troop ship, carry over 10,000 troops on board. The ship could cross the Atlantic faster than any other ship, under 4 days. It holds the Blue Ribbon, which is the basically the award, the Hale Trophy, for the fastest both east and westbound voyages across the Atlantic. No other cruise ship has come close to beating it. The other book is one by Frank Brainerd, and Brainerd's book, The Big Ship, The Story of the SS United States. If you want the engineering, if you want to get into the details about the vessel and understand the Big U, this is the ship you want. This is the book you want. It really goes into that level of detail. I got both of them. I recommend both of them. The wonkiness in me loves Frank Brainerd's book because it gets down into specifications and all the kind of, nitty-gritty detail. But Ujifus's book does the personal side. It does William Francis Gibbs and the whole story behind the SS United States. I will also recommend heading over to the SS United States Conservancy webpage. They also have a YouTube channel where they have some great videos where you can see some of the history of the SS United States, including some specials that were done about it. I think it is a very well done YouTube channel. Obviously does not get the traction that it needs, only 2,500 subscribers, but a very well done series of videos on the channel. I will also recommend the SS United States Conservancy webpage, extremely information-loaded webpage. A lot of great information on here that you can see. So, for example, on America's Flagship, you can learn about the ship itself and the key features of the SS United States, everything from its rudders to its lifeboats to the anchors down to the sports deck, with a lot of good photographs of the vessel as it evolved over time. Just an extremely well done webpage. You also get the mini bios here, so you'll learn about William Francis Gibbs and his desire to build the ship and his efforts to design ships, and Gibbs and Cox, the company that he helped create, and then the launching of the vessel. What was really interesting about SS United States, it wasn't launched in a traditional way. It was built in a dry dock and floated out, something you see commonly today, but at the time was very innovative. You catch SS United States in its glory days in the 1950s through the 1960s. What really killed SS United States was in 1958. You see the introduction of the DC-8 and the Boeing 707. In that year, more people fly across the Atlantic than cross the Atlantic by boat. You see some great images here of the people who are on board. So here's John Wayne with Commodore. John Anderson, the captains of the SS United States of U.S. lines, were always referred to as Commodores, not as captains. And John Anderson, again, graduate of the State University of New York Maritime College. And then the layup of the vessel and really the slow decay and demise of the ship. I am of kind of mixed feelings when it comes to the United States. I am one who actually thinks reefing is the best course of action for the vessel at this point. I don't want to see it scrapped. I don't want to see it carved up into razor blades, which I desperately need, or, you know, being used as a target for the U.S. Navy. I definitely don't want to see that. I do hope that we do preserve some more of the ship than what's there. And particularly for me, the thing that's iconic for the vessel is those two huge smokestacks. I really want them to take the stacks off the vessel and preserve them. I would love to see one stack at State University of New York Maritime College and another over at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. We've done that with the ship's propellers. So here's a slide deck that they did over at the the SS United States Conservancy on the 4 propellers, which are actually preserved. You can see some vestiges of the vessel. So the propellers, very unique, 60,000 pounds a piece. And as I mentioned to you before, very innovative with 2 4-bladed and 2 5-bladed propellers. You can see all 4 of them. One of them is down at the Mariners Museum, one of the 5-bladed ones. Went down there in 2008. It also includes a section of the shaft of the vessel, so you can actually see one of the 4 propellers and shafts. The other one is over, one of the 4-bladed is over at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. That has been there since 1993. Across the way at the State University of New York Maritime College, you can see one of the 5-bladed props. That's been there since 1993 in honor of the ship's last master, Leroy Alexanson. And then the last one is over at the Hudson River Park in New York City at Pier 76, over on West 38th and 12th. You can see one of the 4-bladed propellers there. So a lot of the interior of the vessel was bought up by collectors back in '84 when they had a huge auction for the vessel. So there's a lot of SS United States memorabilia that's floating around there. The Mariners Museum down in Newport News, Virginia, has a lot on the SS United States beyond just that one propeller, so you can actually see it down there. So for me, it's really a mixed reaction on the news of the demise of the ship. I'm going to be following this. When the ship comes down to Norfolk, I'm going to hope to try to get on board and see it. I don't know if I could watch it being sunk off the coast of Florida live, but it's going to be an end to the one of the most famous ships in the U.S. Merchant Marine. And in many ways, it captures the situation of the U.S. Merchant Marine, kind of lagging and rusting away. And now we're putting it to rest off the coast of Florida. It's a sad story, and it's not one I enjoy at all. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. Give it a thumbs up, share it across social media, and if you can, support the page. How do you do that? You hit that super thanks button down below, or head on over to Patreon and become a monthly or yearly subscriber, supporter. I can't even talk. I'm really upset about the loss of the SS United States. It's a tragic loss. Got some videos coming up on my events I have participated in over the past 2 weeks. One of them was the New York Maritime Security Conference. The other was a meeting in Washington, D.C. discussing maritime statecraft and the legislation that's about to come forward from Congressman Waltz and Senator Kelly on a Ships for America Act. So I'm going to be talking about that in some detail coming up. Until the next episode, Sal, signing off.